Protecting the people you love, one-on-one. This topic is about life days off living. Hi everyone, I'm your host Tom Blackwell, and today we're talking about something that sounds boring at first, but trust me, it's actually one of the most powerful tools for protecting the people you love. And when it comes to certain cultures, black people are farther behind. It's life insurance. Now before you hit skip, stay with me. This isn't going to be some sales pitch or a bunch of jargon. We're going to talk about what life insurance really does for you, the key benefits most people don't really think about, and why it's not just for old people or people with a lot of money. Listen, nothing in this episode is personal financial advice. Everyone's situation is different, so it's always important to talk to a licensed professional before making any money decisions. This is just to help you understand the basics. I'm a licensed professional, so let's jump into this. I'm not going to give you any false information. Now, number one, what is life insurance really for you? So, what is life insurance really? It's a great question. At its core, life insurance is a financial safety net for the people who depend on you. You pay a small amount of money regularly, called a premium, and in return, if you pass away while the policy is active, your beneficiaries, usually your family or your kids, get a lump sum of money called the death benefit. But here's the key thing. It's not about you. It's about the people you love and making sure they're financially okay if the worst happens. Think about it. A partner who depends on your income, kids who need food, clothes, school, a stable home, parents you help support, or even just someone who would have to handle your final expenses. Life insurance is basically you saying, if I'm not here, the people I care about aren't left struggling. That's important. Segment 2, key benefit number 1, income replacement. Now, the first big benefit of life insurance is income replacement. If your paycheck disappeared tomorrow, what would happen? Could your family still pay the rent or mortgage? Would they keep up with the car payments, utilities, groceries, all those expenses that you don't really think about? Could your kids stay in the same school? Life insurance steps in to replace years of your income in an instant. So if you earn, let's say, $50,000 a year and your family would need that for the next 10 years, a policy could provide enough to help you cover that gap. It doesn't magically solve every problem, but it gives your loved ones time and breathing room to handle the grief without immediately worrying about money. Time to adjust, maybe retrain, relocate, or downsize. Time to make thoughtful decisions instead of desperate ones. That peace of mind alone is huge. It's invaluable. Segment 3, key benefit number 2, paying off debts and big bills. Now, the second big benefit covering debts and big expenses, most of us have something. A mortgage, we have car loans, student loans, credit card debt. So when someone passes away, the bills don't just vanish. And while some debts may not transfer directly to loved ones, they can still affect the estate and what's left behind. Life insurance, it can help pay off mortgages so your family can stay in the home. It can clear car loans so there's no transportation issues. It can reduce or eliminate other debts that you have so your family isn't drowning in past due payments on top of grief. Think of it as making sure your loved ones aren't focused to sell the house, the car, or other important assets just to stay afloat and hurting their credit, making the gap farther in debt. Segment 4, key benefit number 3. Now we're going to cover final expenses. This one's not fun to think about, but it really matters. So things like funerals, burials, or cremations can be surprisingly expensive, often thousands of dollars. And those bills show up fast, right after one of the hardest moments of your family's life, a death. Now, life insurance can provide money to cover expenses for funeral and burial, pay for travel if family members need to come from out of town, handle legal or administrative costs tied to settling your affairs. So instead of loved ones scrambling to pull money together, and we've seen it before, put expenses on credit cards, start a fundraiser, fish fries, it's one last gift of kindness and organization you can leave behind for your family, and especially your kids. Now, another key is protecting your kids' future. That's number 4. So if you have kids or plan on someday to have them, life insurance can be a way to protect their future opportunities. That payout can help with keeping them in the same school and neighborhood, making sure there's still money for sports activities and hobbies, helping fund college or training down the road. No amount of money replaces a parent, trust me. Of course, but it can sure make sure your kids have more stability, support, and options in their life. Some parents even set up policies specifically for things like education, so life doesn't go as planned, their children's dreams don't have to disappear. Also, another key benefit, number 5, would be peace of mind. Now, here's a benefit that doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. Peace of mind, and we all know how that feels. Life insurance is one of those things that can take a big weight off someone's shoulders. So when like your partner won't lose the house, your kids won't have their lives turned upside down financially, and your family won't be left with a pile of bills. You sleep a little better at night. And that peace of mind isn't just for you, it's for the people around you too. Having these things in place can reduce anxiety, arguments about what if, and the emotional strain of uncertainty. Now, this is optional, but I like to bring value. Now, there's cash value and long term planning. So, I'm just going to touch on this briefly, and I'm going to keep it simple. Now, there are different types of life insurance, just to educate you. And they're very simple. You pay, you're covered, that's it. Others are called permanent life insurance, which can build sometimes called cash value over time. Now, quickly, part of your premium goes towards the cash value. Over the years, it can grow. In some policies, you can grow against it or use it later in life, like borrowing from it. But this is where it really becomes important to talk to a professional because these policies can be more complex. They're usually more expensive than simple term insurance policies, and whether they're right for you depends on your goals and budget. The main point for you today is to understand life insurance isn't just about death. In some cases, it can also become a part of a long-term financial plan, but get proper advice before going there. It's very conscious as a wealth tool. So there's some common misconceptions about it as well. So let's bust a couple of myths down really quickly. Myth number one, I'm young, I don't need it. If anyone depends on your income even a little or would struggle to cover your final expenses, life insurance can still matter, even if you're 22. Also, when you're younger and healthier, it's often easier to qualify, much cheaper to get coverage. Myth number two, it's super expensive. People often overestimate the cost. Basic coverage, especially term policies, can be surprisingly affordable, depending on your age, health, and amount of coverage you choose. Myth three, I get some through work, so I'm fine. Now, employer coverage is great, but it might be too small to really cover your family's needs. So you might lose it if you change your job, get laid off, or your company changes the benefit. And I experienced that before as well. So for many people, work coverage is just a bonus, it's not a whole plan. So do not rely on it. Don't. Now, in closing, what to do next? And this is just advice. So recap, the benefits of life insurance are replacing your income so your family isn't left stranded in the cold, homeless, paying off debts and big skills like a mortgage or a car loan, also covering final expenses so your loved ones don't have to scramble, looking for money, and protecting your kid's future, their home, schooling, and stability, and even giving everyone some much needed peace of mind. Now, in this episode, got you thinking, here are a few steps. Figure out who depends on you financially, your partner, your kids, your loved ones, your parents, even your siblings, just to get it clear on who you will be affected if your income stops. And then estimate how much they need. Think about housing, food, debt, school, how many years of support would matter. And talk to a licensed professional. Education is important. Ask questions, compare options, make sure it's fit for your budget and goals. Remember, this isn't about being morbid. It's about love, responsibility, and taking care of people, even when you're not around. And you can ask me questions. I just want to point you in the right direction. So thank you for helping. Thank you for hanging out with me on this podcast on life insurance. If you found it helpful, please share this with a friend on today's episode, a loved one, a family member who's been meaning to look into life insurance but keeps putting it to the side. I did that before too. I let it lapse. Don't let it lapse. Let's get back in standing and make sure we secure our family's wealth for the future.